Is the handover.
Bula, everyone. Um, uh, this actually started with me telling the permanent secretary, look, why don't we have an informal catch up with the industry, and it's now turned into this in usual tourism form. But to the Tourism Fiji Board of Directors, permanent secretaries, industry partners, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Rob, for the welcome. Bula vinaka to all of you. Really happy to see you all, happy to be here. At least we're on home ground when we actually come back to Nandi. I know most of you, if not all, and all of you have been meeting quite regularly, I understand, with my team in different forums, and you've also been speaking with our regulatory agencies, who I'm told have been very supportive of the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, I understand also that the Reserve Bank of Fiji and the Governor personally has also been a great support to the industry, and especially as we prepare for the 2021-22 national budget. In order to continue that particular dialogue, we have the Deputy Governor is here, I understand, who is also available to respond to your questions. What we really effectively want to do, ladies and gentlemen, is to build on the great momentum that you have kept and we have kept, and the great partnership that we've got, which we have forged as public and private sectors. And my team is here today to listen and to share with you updates. So I want us to be as interactive as we can. While you've been meeting through various forums such as the Tourism Recovery team, the TRT, or with the COVID-19 Risk Mitigation Task Force, we actually want to hear from the wider industry to allow us to collectively arrive at some solutions that we may be able to come up with. We may not be able to address all of your concerns immediately, but we will take them on board. And I want you all to be very frank and very free about what you are able to speak about today. Please don't hold back. This is your forum, and we want to hear from you. It's actually hard to imagine. It's now been a year, ladies and gentlemen, since the pandemic, and the UNWTO notes that the international tourism, ladies and gentlemen, has gone back to levels of some 30 years ago. That's quite phenomenal, actually. And what we hoped would have been another stellar year, and 2020 has obviously brought us about an 80% drop in visitor arrivals, a level which we have not seen since 1971. In January this year, the visitor numbers were down by an alarming 98.5%, from approximately 65,000 to only 1,000. And this reflects arrivals from the 19th century. And this sets not just the industry back, but the Fijian economy back years. But I don't want to dwell on the negative too much. On a positive note, ladies and gentlemen, our foreign reserves remain at comfortable levels at around 2.2 billion, sufficient to cover approximately 7 months of retained imports. And this has been underpinned by a strong foreign reserves position prior to COVID-19 and current low demand for imports. Imports have actually declined by 34% for the period of January to November 2020 compared to the same period in 2019. This has resulted in about a 44% reduction in the trade deficit. In terms of monetary policy, we continue to have a large surplus of liquidity. And I know everybody loves this word at the moment, liquidity, and then they say, well, it's fine having liquidity, but what are the banks doing about it? So this is your forum to have a chat with us and let us know, apart from the ones that you've already had, so we can actually pass the message on and see if something can be done about it. So we've got a large surplus liquidity of over $896.5 million in the financial sector. And this has helped keep interests somewhat low. Lower interest will obviously play an important role in the long-term recovery of the economy when credit risk normalizes in a post-COVID-19 environment. We have the permanent secretaries here today as well who will elaborate on the, specifically I'm talking about my permanent secretary from Commerce, Trade, Tourism, Transport, will elaborate on budget policies for the new financial year. And we must realize, ladies and gentlemen, that the tourism industry also contributed about $1 billion towards government's tax revenue each year alone as an industry. And there are two ways to actually put this into perspective. First, that the tourism industry has been our biggest economic contributor. And second, our economic performance actually hinges on the industry for good, great, or for bad. So those two things are very vital and important. So it's important that what we do, what we must do, what we can do to support each other as we endeavor to reinvent our businesses, our communities, and of course the industry and the economy at large. Through the TRT, I think you all know, we've managed to solve some immediate challenges of the industry concerning some employment, etc. The Ministry of Employment yesterday, I think, had an awareness workshop to look at matters such as how we treat leave without pay and work better with our employers. We've also managed to accommodate exemption of 6-month surveys with respect to new vessel surveys now being issued for about 12 months. This was well received by some of the marine operators. We've also had, thank you, Kartik. We've also had a very famous person, the LTA CEO, James, come down to Nandi and personally visit some of you. Don't worry, I'm not holding it against you. And understand and appreciate the challenges that you have on the ground. So when I say that I'm here to talk to you, please remember that's another division of the ministry that you can actually chat to me about as much as you want, and let me know if there are difficulties, you're still facing difficulties, etc. Ladies and gentlemen, also there's still more to do insofar as policy interventions go, and I want to assure you that we will endeavor to find the most practical solutions. And no one in the industry is forgotten, not in the least. And whether you manage a hotel, or whether you run a restaurant, or you have a tour company, everyone contributes to the greater tourism ecosystem. We have far too much riding on the industry, and and that is why we're actually all here today. Your immense contribution to fueling almost, and this is important, I think everybody should remember this, your immense contribution to fueling almost a decade of economic growth pre-COVID has actually not gone unnoticed. In fact, any form of recovery is dependent on the resumption of quarantine-free international travel and tourism. Whilst we may be out trying to look at different ways of diversifying and not trying to be solely reliant on tourism, we will always be a tourism-based country. And so these things are important. Ladies and gentlemen, where there are challenges, there are opportunities, and opportunities to re-look at traditional ways of doing business, and opportunities to attract new markets, and opportunities to build new skills amongst the industry's labor force. I had a quick chat with CEO Fiji Airways yesterday, and he's doing exactly what I just said. Just new ways of doing business at the end of the day, and everybody has to reset and find out how we actually can do that. And one of the most important things was he actually talked about attracting new markets, which is very important. I'm glad to learn that we are now marketing some of our key travel initiatives, such as the Blue Lane and the Luxury Vacation in Paradise, and I look forward to hearing more from you. I know for the last couple of months our focus has been on the vaccination rollout, a quintessential next step towards the new normal. And for now, vaccinating our population is actually the clearest economic policy. So you'll get to hear some more about that from Permanent Secretary for Health. And your support, ladies and gentlemen, towards the rollout is also highly appreciated. And I know we are hopeful that once we are all vaccinated, we can refer to COVID-19 in the past tense. A major element that underpins all of these opportunities also, ladies and gentlemen, is actually our preparedness and our ability to maintain capacity as well as competitiveness, and no doubt the opening of borders is actually foremost. Your contribution and your support, especially during this time, gives hope and reassurance to Fijians, not only in the tourism industry, but in the agriculture and food and beverage and retail and other industries, that Fiji will return to prosperity soon. Ladies and gentlemen, it won't be easy to get back to where we were, but we'll walk this journey together. In a while, we'll also discuss our aspirations with respect to the 2021 and 2022 national budget, in considering our economic outlook and the budget deficit we are trying to maintain. I hope that the industry can align itself to our strategic priorities. As you all know, we delivered a historical budget in the last financial year, just as we did last year, and we have to remember that we all need to make some very hard sacrifices. I know the tourism industry is resourceful and always has been, so we will welcome your contribution, your ideas, and etc. that we're going to hear about today. So with those few words, I want to welcome you all, and I want you all to make sure that you please contribute wholeheartedly towards what we're trying to achieve today as we go through today's Talanoa session. So Vinawale, thank you very much.